Whew. Tell you what, nothing like a Sunday training session. Normally, it's obviously a rest day for me. I think I speak for most people when I say Sunday is typically a rest day. If you're following some sort of a 7 day training split or 7 day training week, I should say, not training split, you usually typically rest the final day of your training rotation before you start it again. So Sundays for most people, I think, are typically a rest day, unless if you do some weird kind of 4 day or 5 day training week where you kind of rotate every 4 or 5 days. Me personally, that fucks with my head too much. I can't do it because I like the idea of structuring routine and having predictability with each week. And if, say, every damn week chest day is on a different day, it just fucks with my head. And it could just be the autism. I am on the fucking spectrum, so it could be that. But I think I speak for a lot of people when I say most of the time the preference is to have your training sessions align and fall on the same days of the week every single week. It's just easier to plan around, it's easier to prepare for, and if you, for whatever reason, forget what you're training, you can just think of the day and then think, oh, it's this day. You don't have to kind of pull out your training log and kind of go through to just figure out what actual training session you're doing. Anyway, I have to change this session up a little bit because there's no pullover machine here. I don't like cable pullovers. So what I'm doing is doing a complete overhaul of this back training session. The other back training session, for the most part, I can keep the same. I just have to use different brand equipment, but there's different brands of the same machines or the same movements I was doing at Bangkok Muscle Factory as there is here. So I don't have to change both of my back training sessions. However, this one I do. And because I did my second back training session this week first, I have to do my first back training session now. And because there's no pullover machine, I'm completely changing the structure and the flow of the session. So instead of starting with a pullover movement or a vertical pull, I'm actually starting with a horizontal pull. I'm going to basically do chest supported T-bar rows. I'm going to go into a vertical pull after that, probably a wide neutral grip lat pull down. And then I'll finish off with some sort of chest supported row, probably a lat bias row. And from there, I'll go into, actually, you know what, I might actually go into some sort of a shrug variation after the vertical pull. I'll see how I'm feeling. I'll see what I think will be more beneficial. I'll have a bit of a think on it. And then the final exercise will be some sort of posterior chain focus movement, probably a back extension, a hyperextension of some sort, or even maybe like a full flexion row. See how things go. But that's how it's going to look. So a lot more horizontal pulling, I suppose, than what I was doing in my previous back session that this will be replacing. Let's get into it. Feeling pretty tired, to be honest, guys. I don't think it's overreaching or anything like that. I think it's more closely tied to relating to the fact that we moved this week. moved from Bangkok to Pattaya, and so just the physical and mental exhaustion involved in packing and moving all this stuff. I think that's what's kind of worn me out and just tipped me over the edge this week, because I was in the gym earlier today. Oh, and also a bad night's sleep actually. I looked at my Apple Watch and I only got 4.5 hours sleep last night. I went to sleep at the appropriate time, or I should say inappropriate time given my wake up time this morning. Although the sleep was just that broken that it only really equated to a net 4.5 hours of sleep. So I think between that and moving, I'm just feeling a bit flat, because I was, to be honest, kind of nodding on and off at home. Between this morning session and right now, as you can tell, I just yawned, so I'm feeling quite tired. But we'll persist and we'll get through this session, because I think it's one of those things where it'll just improve. Anyway. Now, a little bit of a training tip for you. I have touched on this in previous videos, I guess. When you're training your back, you're training your back, you're not training your biceps. And something that I think a lot of people forget is to actually use their back when they are trying to train their back. They'll turn a pull down or a row into a bicep movement. They're getting all this movement at the elbow joint, minimal movement at the shoulder blades. And no, movement at the shoulder and movement at the shoulder blades are not the same thing. You can consider the shoulder and the shoulder blade a joint in itself, but just because you're getting abduction at the shoulder doesn't necessarily mean you're actually training your back. You need to actually move your shoulder blade, so your scapulae needs to be moving around your rib cage when you're performing a back movement. All the back muscles are basically responsible for moving those shoulder blades in different directions. So if you're not getting any, or if you're not getting much shoulder blade action happening, then you're really leaving a lot of gains on the table. Focus more about that. Like, focus less on how high you can get your elbows and how much of a, I suppose, a bend and stretch you can get at the elbow joint, and focus more on how much you can get the back to round over, the shoulder blades to basically glide forward around the rib cage and then come back behind and retract at the top of each rep. If you focus on that more than the actual elbows themselves, you're going to get a lot more back. Sure, you might not lift the weight or the bar as far up as you would if you were to, say, really focus on just the elbows, but you're going to work your back a lot more. Almost set to go. Then onto the neutral grip, so wide neutral grip pull down. So I'm not sure if I did a warm-up set on this or not. I'll just have to feel this first one out. I've got 65 on here. So I'll do a few reps. If it feels like a warm-up weight, I'll just stop there. If it feels like it could be a candidate for a working set though, I'll just keep going and track it and record it as my first set. But essentially 3 sets of the wide neutral grip lat pull down. Focusing mostly on just especially getting the lats involved a little bit more. So I'm going to try to keep a little bit more external rotation, hence the neutral grip instead of an overhand grip. But in the overhand grip, to get a lot more teres involved, which isn't a bad thing. Because I mean, lats and teres both contribute to overall back width, which is what I'm wanting. But because I do a teres biased pulling movement on the other back day, I want to do something that is slightly different. So I'm getting more kind of well-rounded, comprehensive back training for the entire week, if that makes sense. So one day I'll be doing a more teres major focused pull down. The other day, more of a lat focused pull down. If I wanted to make it really lat focused, I could do like a single arm vertical pull, but I'm a little bit over that, to be honest. So I've been doing that for a while, and as soon as I'm forced to change up my session now that I'm in a new gym, new location, new equipment, I might as well take the opportunity, I suppose, as a time to really overhaul the session and make some big changes. Definitely a warm-up weight. So it was 65. Full stack's 105. I might go 95. I feel like 85 would be a little bit too light. So this one, just basically doing an underhand grip, getting more external rotation to again get the lats in it a little bit more. So 3 sets of this, probably higher rep to be honest, because the stack's pretty light. But we'll see how things go. First set will kind of determine where the rep range will fall for the training block, I reckon, just because it's all new equipment to me. But they're done. They're really hard. It's deceiving. Sometimes the easiest machines are the most challenging ones, are the most, I suppose, the easiest looking machines, not the easiest machines. Yeah. Might move this chest support pad back one more notch too, just to get a little bit more of a stretch at the end of each rep. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I quite like this machine.
it's good, eh? I like it.
I've seen you use straps before.
Huh?
I've seen you use straps before.
Yeah, I start using them just so I can lift more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, rep stream was. I mean, we did last time. We tried straps without straps. Basically the same reps.
Yeah. I just figure like it's one less thing to think about if I have straps on. Like I find certain exercises that have real. I don't use it on this, but like exercises that have real kind of deep knurling on metal handles, like the chest of water T-bar.
Right. Yeah.
I fucking hate gripping that without it
Oh yeah. I think
because
so.
it rips your hands apart.
Yeah. True.
And so this helps kind of like I can grip it real tight and it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In trying with this one, it's like exactly what you did. Like get to like full on failure,
And then
like
partials.
like a scapular traction, like that mid upper back.
Yeah. It's good. I like it.
Oh, it's a,
I do partials on this, but then my other back day I actually superset T-bar rows with Kelso shrugs,
yeah.
and that's real like trap dominant.
Yeah.
Like this, I'm still getting some like biceps and shit in it because I'm still bending my elbows and stuff. But yeah, I'll do like dead straight locked out elbows and just like this at the end of it.
I think traps also like front delts, or if you've done heavy gearless on stuff, you don't need to directly train them.
Yeah,
Like fuck.
yeah,
I've understood dudes like directly training traps and it's underdeveloped.
yeah.
So it's like, why do you have underdeveloped traps if you never done like heavy free weight?
They usually they don't train back properly.
Yeah.
Like it's just all like humeral movement. There's no kind of scapular movement. Yeah,
It's funny
I
that
can't
like,
stand it.
yeah, like the fucking like isolation cigar rows are good if you advance.
Yeah,
It's like you get like the 180 pound dude. It's like bro,
Yeah.
you need just everything.
exactly. That's it. It's like it's only like the past like 6 months I've started like trying to isolate the traps more, and it's because I just want big traps. Like
Yeah.
I just want really thick big traps, and I mean normal shrugs don't do much for trap development. You're better off doing Kelsos.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think because in a slight horizontal plane, you get more total fiber recruitment of like all heads of the trap,
Yeah.
like upper, mid, and lower trap all get recruited to a higher level. If you're in like a bit of like a horizontal position, if you're just doing this like vertical shit, you're targeting like such a small portion of the fibers. Alright, so far so good. Got one more set just to wrap up the 3 sets on this, and you probably would have seen in that last set I was actually doing like lengthened partials. Now I don't think they're the be all end all, but I do think there's some utility in them, especially for an experienced lifter like myself. Like if you're not even 220 pound, I probably wouldn't worry about trying to isolate the traps. There's not much benefit to it because chances are if you're under 220 pound, unless if you're say 5'4", you're not developed, you're underdeveloped. Like you're not developed enough to warrant specialising in traps. Get beyond 220 pound first or beyond 100 kilo first. If you're anything taller than 5'7", 5'8", and then worry about kind of isolating and emphasising the traps.
Oh yes. This is kind of like a hard day. I like to get